Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. I'm laughing because just as I start, the cats are bouncing around inside the wrapping paper on the floor in my office. My office has been turned into their personal kitty playground for like the last 6 to 8 weeks or so. And they have a great time in it. It's funny, one could be looking out the window in our bedroom, and if you rattle the paper around in here, they'll come running in to find out why is the other cat getting into mayhem on the paper, and how come they're not involved in the play. So I'll give you a quick little peek to see if we can see what they're doing over there. Yeah, Nico's kind of hunkered down and Elle's all lounged out. But they're playing. They're having a good time. Cats being cats. They get along well. Wrapping up some interesting things. Did not put up a video last night. It was a long day. I had driven to my mom's house to sort of sort out some stuff for her taxes and get her estimated taxes paid. And then met up with some college friends for lunch. And then after that, went and met with a bunch of high school friends afterwards. And I didn't get home till about 8:30 last night after leaving the house about 9 in the morning. So I had a day. I did get myself a new deck of cards. They're still Rider Waite. They're a lot slicker because they're new. So there are some reversals that are working into the deck, and I'll just go ahead and read them as reversals when they come out. But I will fix them. I will write them when I put them back in the deck. So I try not to have reversals in here. But again, these cards are so slick, they just do that. Other news, I guess the official Trump medical data came out. Did you know that he was 6'2.5" and like 224 pounds? Remember what I said, that if they said he was basically 6'3" and 239 pounds or right around there, not to believe a damn word in it? Yeah, they subtracted 15 pounds from his weight there. That guy is not 225 pounds. He just isn't. Especially, oh good lord. Kitty wrestling time. Pow. Okay, there you go. You get your WWE cats. He's not. He just isn't. That's not in reality. If you have any doubt, you can Google search for photos of people who are 6'2.5", 225 pounds, and see what their physiques look like. And they don't look like his. Again, nothing wrong with being overweight. The guy eats terribly, so it's to be expected. But his vanity will not allow for it. And he's probably all of about 6 feet 1/2 inch tall. He's not 6'2.5", which rounds to 6'3". So that's probably the compromise he gave. The test said he's on a number of heart drugs. Well, we knew that. And said his mental cognition was fine. Great. Superior. He's perfectly fit to run the country. Nope. Not buying it. And there were I haven't read through the 500 plus comments yet. I know this morning when I got up, there was somebody who was basically saying I was biased and look at all the good Trump's doing and he's very coherent and blah, blah, blah. No, he isn't. The dude's a walking word salad. Don't believe me? Just listen to him speak. He's unhinged. You cannot tell me that man is cognitively functional. Sorry. And in the same breath, tell me about Joel. What about Joe Biden? Yeah, whatever, dude. Joe Biden could string together a bunch of sentences in a row and convey a thought. Trump can't. All right, but this isn't a Trump bashing reading. That's just getting us caught up. This reading, I want to read on the health of the United States. I just read on Trump's health report card before it came out. And now I kind of want to read on the health of the United States right now. As it relates to the rest of the world and such. Because we are in some interesting times, dire times. There's just a lot of craziness going on in this country. just like Trump suffers from mental health issues, so does the country. And I want to look into that as the cats continue to fight. So come on down. Reading for entertainment purposes only. Let's see what we've got going on. Describe the health of the United States. I'm already focusing on the mental health, but just the general overall health of the United States. Knight of Pentacles. It's a progression. It's the Pentacles are about health and wealth, and this is a path forward. This could be a mercenary knight in political readings. This could be getting news and acting on news of one's health. I think that's probably more. We're getting health report cards and actions need to be taken with it. What is the challenge? What are we seeing with those health report cards? Queen of Swords. It's, the tests have come in. Here are the results. There's no denying the results. There's no interpreting the results a different way than they really are. These are the results. You need to deal with it. So, underneath is the Magician. You can fool yourself or you can take action about it. But you can't, the results themselves are not kiddable. What you do about it is your mindset. As an example, if your blood pressure is, 200 over 130 and you've got other indications that you suffer from high blood pressure, which could lead to stroke or heart attack or hypertension, any of those other type of conditions, the blood pressure numbers don't lie. They are what they are. Maybe it's combined with high cholesterol too. What you choose to do with it is your choice, but here are the numbers. Now, if you want to kid yourself and just say, oh, that doctor doesn't know what they're doing, you can ignore it and just say, oh, it's a passing thing. Yeah, I had a pretzel before I had my blood pressure done. There was some salt on it. I'm sure that was the cause. Or you can say, hey, now that I've got that information, let's go ahead and do something with that information. So this right now is back on the United States. You got your bill of health. You can see what the problems are. What are you going to do about it? In the past, you got the Hierophant. Right now, it's the representative democracy. It's the government. Well, you can just look at the U.S. in general, but the government runs the country. Representative democracy. We elect representatives to go to a central place, Washington, D.C., and represent us on the national stage. And we also have, we have local politicians, state legislatures, governors and such like that to run our mayors to run our cities, governors to run our states, that type of thing. But the general health of the United States is you've gotten information, things are not good. What are you going to do? Current situation, just like the cats, there's a lot of fighting. A lot of fighting going on here. For folks trying to decide what is the best I can almost speak, best path forward. One side may be getting an upper hand on it, but when you are throwing tariffs on the rest of the world and the rest of the world fights back and the bond market flexes its muscle, then all of a sudden you might have to retreat a little bit and rethink your plan. Looking at the health of the United States, there are people that will fight for the betterment of the health, but there are a number of challenges that need to be overcome. These challenges that are overcome will be overcome a lot more easily if we have bipartisan support doing it. Right now, the two political parties are extremely divided, but there are signs that, at least in Congress, the Senate and the House, that they might want to take back Trump's ability to lay tariffs on any countries whenever he wants to, and taking back that power, which belongs in Congress, will help out the overall U.S. health because it's back with the person who should be controlling it. Things are changing quickly, though. There's a lot of change happening, a lot of energy, and a lot of energy happening quickly. So what we may be fighting today may not be what we're fighting tomorrow because things change. And again, if you wanted to look at a health model, maybe the blood pressure is high, but now you get high cholesterol, so now you need to fight the cholesterol too, and maybe something else happens. That's a short-term thing that you have to deal with, but you still have the long-term fight that you need to address. The lesson to be learned is justice. And I believe I had this on my other reading with the Trump Health. If you tell the doctor that you're out exercising every day and eating well, and you're actually doing it, well, then you're going to see the results. But if you tell the doctor you're doing it, and you're not actually doing it, well, you're not going to see the results. The body doesn't care what you tell the doctor. The body cares what you actually do to yourself. You can't, in this case, it's the one thing Trump cannot cheat. He can lie to us about his health, but he cannot cheat his body because his body isn't susceptible to the lies. And it's the same thing with the U.S. If the U.S. takes steps to adjust its health, things will work out. Doesn't mean it's not going to be painful, inconvenient, and unpleasant, but they will work out. But you've got to do the work. Out comes the Six of Swords. Yeah, it's kind of funny. You can't blame the immigrants. You can't blame other countries for your problems. You have to take care of them yourself. And the first thing you need to do is, for the United States, is you need to calm things down. You need to stop blaming others for your poor health. You need to own it. You need to do the paddling. You need to do the steps necessary to take care of it. Will the United States do that? I don't know. Eventually you're going to have to. You can put it off. You can put it off for another day, but the problems don't go away. Those problems are here. They are here. Whether you address them now or address them later, that's up to you. The sooner you address them, the sooner you overcome them. That's kind of how this works. You want to delay it, it'll get worse. The longer you delay, the harder it's going to be. Then rocket science. Kind of in related news, there was a vaccine chief named Peter Marks who was ousted from the FDA and forced to resign after he refused to grant Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s team unrestricted access to a tightly held vaccine safety database. The reason why he didn't do that was he feared the information might be manipulated or even deleted. Marks had said in an interview with AP that he had agreed to give Kennedy and his associates the ability to read thousands of reports of potential vaccine-related issues sent to the government's Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. But he would not allow them the ability to edit the data. So, like in my work, we have databases where you can have read-only access. You can read all the reports in that database, but you don't have write access or editing access because we don't want you going in and editing the reports that are already in there. Those reports are written, they've been edited, they've been reviewed, they've been approved and signed off and electronically uploaded to a database with electronic signatures. The last thing you want is anybody to go in there without who doesn't know anything about those projects and edits the data. Because right now what we're dealing with here is potentially somebody who would edit the data to make it more favorable to their messaging. You can read the reports. There'll be data with those reports to support the conclusions of those reports. If you disagree with the conclusion of those reports, you can take the data from those reports and write why you disagree with it. But you don't get to edit those reports. You can create a new one to challenge it. That's the proper way to do this. That doesn't appear to be what Kennedy and his team want to do. Back to Peter Marks here. Why wouldn't we, when explaining why they wouldn't give him editing data? Because frankly, we don't trust them. he said, using a profanity, those mofos, they'd write it over or erase the whole database. Now, would they? I don't know. Maybe. But there's no reason for them to have edit access, write access. Read access is fine. They have full access to the database. They can read any report they want. This is they dovetail this article with the fact that there's now 600 or 700 measles cases in the United States, and Marks, the former vaccine chief, basically attributed the deaths to measles due to a tepid response by the Department of Health and Human Services, which, although they still encourage a mumps and rubella vaccine, as which they did on Sunday, but the same HHS promoted claims about a vitamin A supplement helping with it. I've worked in the sciences. I'm not saying vitamins can't help, but they are not a preventative cure. Maybe they help supplement, boost your immune system, something along those lines. Certainly, having vitamin A is good, and having a vitamin A deficiency is going to lead to problems. But, just like COVID, you had a bunch of people coming up with a bunch of vitamins and stuff to help fight COVID naturally. Dude, you know what helps fight COVID naturally? Getting a vaccination. And then, washing your hands, wearing a mask, distancing socially, all the stuff that we were doing. Plus, the vaccine was the biggest thing you could do to help it. It may not prevent it, but it could certainly lessen the conditions that you don't end up on a ventilator. Let's take a look at, I want to just look, RFK and his team in that database. What did they want? Why did they want edit access to that database? Did they have good intentions or poor intentions? 3 of coins. An agreement, a conspiracy, an understanding, looking at it, expertise, trying to understand things. Crossed with the 7 of wands. And then the Sun card. Okay, so I would assume his team wanted to go in there, go data mining through those reports to expose the truth, which is fine. You know what? If the FDA has their vaccine database and they've been hiding stuff, and RFK wants to bring it to the surface that we've been lied to, that's fine. Go right ahead and do it. But you don't need edit access to do that. That's a really key point. You do not need to edit the documents to do that. Otherwise, you could be editing things to provide a false flag. Notice the flag here. The Hermit card in the past. This is like what, there's something we call a fishing expedition. It's when you get access to the database, but you don't say what you're looking for. You just start looking for anything that looks unusual. It's why, like, when police get search warrants, they have to be looking for a specific thing. They can't just say, we want to search the whole house for we don't know what. No, you have to say, we're searching the house for cocaine, and we think, it's a kilogram or something. No, they have to have very specific details of what they're looking for. They can't just say, we want to go in the house and just search for stuff, and we'll get back to you, Judge, when we find something illegal. That's not how this works, and that's not how it works either with this. But it looks like they wanted to go on a fishing expedition. Current situation is the 2 of Cups. They were given access to it. They may even get that edit access. Trump may pressure people into it. This guy's already lost his job, and they'll just keep going right down the food chain until they find somebody who's going to grant them that editorial access. Overarching energy is the Ace of Wands. This is this is a big opportunity, but I'm going to read the low energy of it. This is the Fred Flintstone card of trying to force a square peg into a round hole. I think what they want to do, basically they're going to force their way into that database, come hell or high water. What they do with it, we'll find out, but that's what they want to do. Lesson to be learned is 4 of Cups. They're not getting a lot of cooperation from HHS, and they may not find what they're looking for in that data if they only have read-only access. You know, they can find some things, but nothing to really change the narrative. Oh, boy. Outcome is the Six of Wands here, victory. They may be eventually able to get that that editing access. I really hope they don't. If they don't, again, they could expose things that are wrong in there. That's entirely possible. Let's throw one clarifier on that. Huge opportunity. Wow. Okay. So again, if they discover that there's, you know, shenanigans in that database, they'll link it to money. Say pharmaceutical companies paying big money to manipulate that database. And that could be exposed. That could be a really positive thing that comes out of this. The negative thing that would be out of it is if they get their right-only access, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change things, to change the narrative. Well, I suppose I could throw a four-carder. Will Kennedy and crew change the narrative if they get write-only access, or even delete the database? Basically, Peter Marks is fearful, or fearful may not be the word, has concerns that the data will be altered or even obliterated. Are those valid concerns? Is that something that is likely to happen? Of course, valid concerns and likely to happen are two different things. Valid concerns, you know, it could be a very small chance of it happening. That doesn't make it not valid. It just means it's not probable. Is that something that's likely to happen? Will RFK Jr. and the folks reporting into him manipulate data or delete it altogether? Again, they do not need edit access. They don't need write access to a database. Okay, four-carder. What's going to happen? The Lover's card. Big agreements, big contracts. I don't like that word, contracts. Knight of Pentacles. Money, movement of health, movement of values. Boy, those cards are looking familiar. That cat's looking familiar. What are you doing up here? Shouldn't you be playing on some wrapping paper over there? Pardon me for a second while I remove the cat. They've already seen you. Yes, they saw you already. They did. They saw you and Elle wrestling with each other. Come here. Okay, so for those who are newer to the channel, this is Nico, the cat. He likes to jump up and be the center of attention, but right now he needs to go play with our other cat, Elle, while I wrap up this reading. So Foundation is the Lover's card. We've got the Knight of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, and and the Six of Wands with the Queen of Pentacles underneath it. So what is that telling us about? Will they get access? The Lover's card. I think they will get editing access. I don't necessarily see a deleting of data, but I think they will get editing access. Basically, they'll drive away the people that would say, no, you can't have it. They just wear them out. Enough people leave where they finally get that victory, and now they can look at that data and do stuff with it. Notice we've got the Knight of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is a great card. That's about, Homeland Security. That's about practicality. That's about taking care of your health. Generational type health here. Unless the victory is that they don't get in and everything's protected. Will they get it? I just think they will. When you get this card in here, it's, again, people that say no are being removed. So that tells me the answer is going to be yes. Maybe something good can happen out of this. Maybe they look at this data and try and do something with it. But I honestly, I just don't trust him. The guy is... The guy is not a real high vibrational being. You're allowed to have your opinions, but your opinions need to be based in fact. And a lot of his opinions are based on opinions and not necessarily following where the facts lead. Again, I am not saying that there isn't corruption in that database, that pharmaceutical companies haven't paid for results or buried results or something along those lines. That's entirely possible. But RFK Jr., maybe if there is, he can expose it. But that's not quite the champion that I want looking for that, because I don't trust that he doesn't have ulterior motives. And that's the problem, is how do you get rid of the ulterior motives? So, again, if he gets access to the database, he gets access to the database. There's nothing you and I can do about it. It's up to him and his team to figure out what they find when they're in there. Did they find corruption? Possibly. Can they fix it? Possibly. Do they find nothing? Possibly. I don't know. What good is it? This video is a waste of time. No, I think what it is we just don't know yet. We don't know if they're going to get access, and if they do get access, it's not guaranteed they'll find anything. And if they do find something, it's no guarantee that they'll do something positive or negative with it. Let's hope that if they do find something, that they do something positive with it that helps us all. That's probably the best way to look at it. And we'll leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.